So for fourth grade, we're going to unpack the standard 4LS 1-1, and it's to construct an argument that plants and animals have internal and external structures that function to support survival, growth, and reproduction. In other words, how plants look both on the outside and the inside, those key traits contribute to how it's going to thrive and reproduce in its natural ecosystem. Science and engineering practices, we're engaging in argument from evidence. Disciplinary core ideas. Plants and animals have both internal and external structures. We already went over that. And cross-cutting concepts for English and math, we're going to go over as well. Here we go. The essential question is, what key structural parts help plants and animals survive? What parts do we have that help us survive as well, just to relate? A phenomenon, for example, is, do all plants and animals have the same internal and external structures? For example, based on the ecosystem or environment, why do certain animals and plants have, different structures based on where they live? And then I guess the second question is, do all humans have the same external structures? You can break that down from like a macro to all the way to a micro level. Students are going to be able to, in terms of learning targets, show that they have knowledge of different kinds of plants and animals, structures, by describing them. And they're going to recognize key traits that assist in the survival of a species, also comprehending that certain traits are more dominant and important than others. For example, if a plant's in the rainforest, it's going to have to withstand rain. And those external structures that plant has will contribute to helping it survive in a rainforest. Hopefully the students will share about similar and differentiating traits that certain plants and animals possess. For example, a plant in the rainforest is going to be much different than a plant or a cactus in the desert. A desert cactus is going to have less water, so that it's going to be able to internally, structurally hold water better than, let's say, a plant in the rainforest. Some activities that students can do. As a class, we would first watch a YouTube video, more of a broad video that kind of describes, different, for example, monocot and dicot plants, and the types of structures that these plants and animals have. The video hopefully will show examples of these specific species and why each species has their unique makeup, right, based on the ecosystem or environment that it lives in. Performance expectation, we already went over that. It's to construct an argument. The ELA connection, fourth grade is definitely a grade where reading is important. And after students read excerpts, it's important for them to be able to comprehend and then express their opinion, hopefully with like a quick write. There's a good book on Amazon. It's called Botany External Animal book set from Amazon Books. And it's just a set of books that kind of broadly describe the external structures of plants and why plants have those external structures based on their environment. In terms of a technology connection, iExcel is a great app, definitely for science. The endpoint to animal adaptation section is great. And it goes over, for example, animals with beaks, animals with wings, or animals with fins, and where those animals live and the traits that those animals have that help them live in that environment. Epic is also another good app that could be supporting students through technology. There's a good book, Read Life Under the Sea, Squid's book, and then as with all the other Epic books, you can answer questions after that to kind of assess your comprehension. Students can study graphs in terms of cross connection. In terms of math, they can study graphs and graphs that could display, for example, the number of animals that live in the rainforest versus the number of animals that, for example, live in the ocean or the desert. Moving on now, we have fifth grade. This performance expectation is going to be 5LS1-1, and it's going to be to support an argument that plants get the materials they need for growth, chiefly from air and water. This is a great just beginning kind of lesson for fifth graders, because it definitely goes over these core broad ideas about how plants survive based on their environment, through precipitation and air. So an essential question: what are materials that plants need to survive? What kinds of water do certain plants thrive in? For example, some plants require more water, some plants require less water, just based on the environment and the actual structure of the plant. Phenomenon: do all plants need the same amount of air and water to survive? If not, what are some different factors that certain species need in comparison to others? Again, just based on the environment and what kind of plant it is going to be, it is going to, just describe how much water or air that plant needs to survive, thrive, and grow, and also reproduce. Students will be able to identify the different basic plant types based on their external structural components and why certain plants have defining features based on ecosystem factors. They will seek to comprehend the idea that that evaporation and precipitation are the main contributors to healthy plant life. They're going to be striving to learn the recipe for ideal plant growth as well, right, based on ecosystem, where that plant lives, how much water or air that plant is going to need, based on also the sun exposure as well. Plants with more sun exposure, for example, need more water. Students were going to share about they're going to share about the contributing environmental factors that help plants survive. Climate and microecosystem factors all play roles in why certain plants thrive in specific places, right? Water amount is also important depending on where the plant lives, and also in what stage of growth the plant is in. For example, when a plant is young, it needs less water. When a plant gets older and the root system becomes stronger and taller, the plant is in turn going to need more water. Some activities, again, YouTube, there's a couple great series. One of them is Dr. Bionic Plant Life Cycles and Elements. We can watch that together as a class, then discuss the video and encourage any questions regarding air and water in the plant's ecosystem. We can brainstorm on the whiteboard as well in terms of how the class feels about the video, and any discovery moments they might have, and any questions that they might have to further investigate down the line in the lesson. After we do that brainstorming, students can break into groups of 3 to 5 to draw on large poster boards collaboratively the 4-stage cycle of plants in relation to evaporation and precipitation. Again, going back to that question, supporting an argument that plants get the materials they need from growth, chiefly from air and water. ELA connection. Again, Amazon has some great books. One is The Amazing Life Cycle of Plants. And again, fifth grade, we're looking for comprehension and also an ability to share your opinions and thoughts on a certain topic. So a quick write-up after reading that book would be great, probably about a page or so, or so, just to get a feeling if they are comprehending the material and any questions they might have for the future. Dr. Bionic, again, has some great videos. The one here in the slide is an awesome one that, kind of broadly describes plants and how they need air and water to survive. iExcel is a great technology support as well. Section M.5, which is describe and construct flowering plant cycles. Again, those flowering plant cycles, it's going to be based on the environment, which is largely determined by air and water amount. Math connection, students can definitely use graphs to chart and measure average rainflow. I think that looking at a graph based on the months and how much a certain month has, for example, in the wintertime, December, January, February, it's going to have more rain flow than, say, for example, in the summer months, June, July. And by looking at that graph, the students are going to be able to get a kind of a broad picture of when it does and doesn't rain based on ecosystems.